Hello everyone, my name is Olukemi Jeboda, lead HR business partner here at Hyde. It is a wonderful privilege to speak with you today for International Women's Day. Here's my story. I was born in Nigeria. My parents had five girls and a boy. The boy came last. My father wanted a boy, so my mom kept trying. I learned subconsciously though that there was a premium on boys, so I wanted to be a boy. This started showing up in my mannerisms. For instance, I would bow rather than curtsy when I was greeting people who were older than me. This was in secondary school, so one of my teachers pulled me aside and she asked, "Why are you bowing rather than curtsying?" And I said to her, "I wanted to be a boy." And she smiled. Gently, though, she explained to me the beauty of being a girl, a lady, and a woman. And I was intrigued. Over time, I grew closer to her and I started to embrace my femininity. And I actually thought then, well, yeah, it is cool to be a girl. Things moved on though. I studied industrial chemistry in the university. And afterwards, I started working in a bank. Now, I soon realized that I wanted to do something more challenging. So I got a job offer to work with an NGO supporting entrepreneurs to start and to grow businesses. I asked one of my senior managers for advice, and he was very critical. He said I knew nothing about this line of work and I would end up embarrassing myself. And also, the new role was going to pay me much less than my current role in the bank, so there was no financial incentive to make this move. I spoke with my mom though. My mom was a partner in KPMG at the time. My mom asked me this question. She said, if you were to pay for a course and the cost of that course is this difference between your current role and the new role in terms of pay, would you pay for the course? I said, of course, I would, without hesitation. My mother then encouraged me to see the salary difference not as a pay cut, but rather an investment in myself. I listened to that advice. I took the role. It was a tasking role because it had a steep learning curve, but then it was a rewarding role. I got to see many businesses start, grow, and thrive. And the icing on the cake was that after just 2 years in this company, I was earning more than my colleagues in the bank. But then I went back to university for my MBA. My father told me the story when I got admission about how he had enrolled in the same university, but he didn't finish. And the reason was because my mother had too many admirers and he was busy fending them off. So he couldn't finish. I thought that was really funny, but I made him a promise that I would complete my MBA for the both of us. During my studies, however, my mother took ill, and after a few months, she passed. Then, exactly 2 months and 2 days afterwards, my father died. Grief came in endless waves, and I just drifted hopelessly along. In the face of many difficulties, I completed my studies. I wanted to keep my promise to my father, and against all odds, I did. I moved on to other roles in my career, learning and development in a multinational company and human resources in a group of companies owned by one of Nigeria's ex-presidents. The group spanned insurance, pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, and health. It was a good experience, and soon I grew to be the group head of human resources, looking after over 1,000 members of staff in multiple locations. I took on the role squarely and took advantage of several opportunities that came with it, including attending business school and also studying for my CIPD in the UK whilst I was working in London, so in Lagos. So I used to fly down to London for lectures. And by the way, that MBA finally paid off because it enabled me to qualify for the highly skilled migrant program visa, which brought me to the UK and eventually gave me my British citizenship. When I got to the UK, I had to start afresh, right from the beginning. But starting afresh is good. And I first worked for an aerospace company and then moved on to Hyde in 2008. And of course, my story continues in Hyde. After I got married, I was surprised that children weren't forthcoming as expected. I started a long journey of investigations and procedures. After 14 years of marriage, I had gone through 7 IVFs and IUIs and several surgeries on top, all to no avail, not even a pregnancy. Through those years, I decided to live my life to the fullest as much as I could. I took a conscious decision to be happy and to do the things that I wanted to do. I also developed myself and became professionally qualified in several areas, including practitioner in agile project management, level A and B in psychometric testing, coaching and mentoring with the CIPD, and also with the European Mentoring and Coaching Council. Of course, I had several criticisms from well wishers. I was told to focus on having children and it's not all about career and making money. Those comments ran deep. I'm eternally grateful to my amazing husband, family, friends, and colleagues who stood by me through that period. We prepared for my 8th procedure, and while waiting for the appointment, I fell pregnant. Naturally, just like that. I felt every emotion possible, but the obvious one, joy, that came much later. After the shock had worn off, I finally delivered my baby after 15 years of marriage. But you see, through all of that, I learned something important. That miracles, yes, they still do happen. But whilst you're waiting for your miracle, it's okay to live. I was on maternity leave for 9 months. That gave me lots of time to think, and I spent some of that time in Nigeria. I realized that I had subconsciously decided during my MBA that I would never further my career, my academic career, due to the many challenges that I faced. I dared myself to change that decision. So I went back to university and went back to the same spot almost 20 years before, where I used to sit and hang my head. Right there and then, I took a deep breath, exhaled, and I gave myself permission to go for my second master's. So I started applying. I got admission to study international human resources management here back in the UK. I was excited about that. My research was going to be about ethnicity and career progression into leadership. It was very close to my heart, and I was excited about the journey ahead. But then COVID happened, and Black Lives Matter followed. And soon after, a family bereavement. This one hit home as it brought back the memories of losing both my parents within 2 months. I was in a dark place. I finally managed to pull myself together after several months. My dissertation deadline was looming, and I had several milestones that I had missed. It was daunting, but God smiled on me. My supervisor was heaven sent. I had incredible support from colleagues right across the business who supported the research. I am indebted to them. I am. And afterwards, I waited eagerly for the results. And it came soon enough. Not only did I pass, I had distinction. My goodness. I knelt down to thank God. And in between my tears that day, I looked up and I said, "Hey, Dad, I got you another master's." Another decision I took during my maternity leave was to give back to others. I realized that I had been blessed, and even though I wasn't where I wanted to be in my career, I still felt I was blessed. For instance, the plan was to retire at 40 and then to be a millionaire. But here I was, over 40 and not a millionaire. Not yet anyway. However, I figured that there will always be people above you, below you, and at the same level as you. So there was no point waiting for perfection before doing what I wanted. So I decided that success really is not about having things or positions. Success is impacting the world with the investment of your personality and starting right where you are. So I decided to look for opportunities to make a difference to others in the little way that I could. And as a result, I now volunteer for several organizations outside of work, one of which is a non-executive director with a charity. So in conclusion, I want to leave you with these 3 things. Write your own story. You, and only you, are in charge of your narrative. You were born an original. Don't die a photocopy. You don't need anyone's permission, actually, to dream. Only your own permission is needed. Have big dreams, outrageous ones. If you say, what if it doesn't happen? I'll say to you, what if it does? Even if it's never been done before, you might just be the person that will be the first to do it. Take every opportunity that life presents. And actually, if there are no opportunities, create them. Even if it looks like you have hit the glass ceiling and it looks like you're going nowhere, do you know what? Keep running. You may be running on the spot, but you're not wasting your energy. You are building momentum. And when that glass ceiling finally shatters, because it will, the only way for you to go will be up. So you see, time is precious. I don't have time to waste on my fears. I put my time to better use, chasing my goals and dreams. And whatever you're going through or to, make up your mind to live. You only get one shot to be here, right now, at this time. So go ahead, live. Number 2, have your own team. I cannot tell you enough how important this is. In addition to my family, I have this group of amazing supporters, my friends. They're my cheerleaders, and I'm theirs in return. Remember, we rise by lifting others. Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm all for constructive feedback. But once that constructive turns to destructive, nah, you don't need such people around you. Life is tough enough, so don't complicate it with people who chip away at you. Anytime that imposter syndrome or self-doubt sets in, and I tell you this is more times than I care to admit, my friends will say, oh, it's okay. You can do it anyway. It's not even such a big deal. And when I hear those words, I just move. Number 3, you are enough. I learned I was enough as a girl. I was enough as a single lady. I was enough as a married woman without a child. I am enough as a married woman with a beautiful son. I am enough with my accent. I am enough as a black woman. No matter what I want or aspire to be, I will always be enough. Unapologetically, unequivocally, unashamedly enough. And I say to you, you are enough. Because it's only when we all live in the reality of being enough, then we can all rise together. Thank you.